just in time right there.
Yeah.
It's in bounds. What an epic performance by the Titans on Saturday.
2 weeks in a row now.
Yep.
More from this game. Derrick Henry, the reason why they've had 2 great weeks in a row. With the jump pass touchdown to Corey Davis. He runs him in, he throws him in.
That was a brilliant play call. Who in America thought Derrick Henry wasn't running that wildcat to just bulldoze this defense for that touchdown? Perfect play call, perfect time. Titans
He did throw into triple coverage. Mariota was wide open on the sideline. Come on, Derrick Henry.
Niners, Vikings. Stephon Diggs just walking into the end zone backwards after roasting the Niners defender.
And that is the entirety of the Minnesota highlights of the day. At that moment, it looked like we might have a game, and then San Francisco absolutely shut them down.
They should have took more shots outside, one-on-one coverage outside. Let your receivers have a chance to make a play.
All right, back to the stunner. Many still can't figure out the Titans knocking off Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens to advance to the AFC Championship game. And it was a game to forget for Lamar Jackson, the probable MVP, once again struggling in the playoffs. He had 3 turnovers. He was stopped short on 4th and 1 2 times. And Baltimore's defense couldn't stop Derrick Henry, who led the way with 195 yards. Here's quarterback Lamar Jackson after the loss.
Lamar, will it be painful for you over the next year to hear people spend all that time talking about how you haven't won a playoff game, or will you be harder on yourself than anybody else could possibly be?
No, I don't really care about what they say. You know, this is my 2nd year in the league. Many people don't be able to make it to the playoffs. I got a great team with me. We ain't really worried about what the people say. We just gonna keep going. Like I said, get ready for next year.
All right, Nate, we'll get to how the Ravens were able to do this. But first, this is now 2 playoff games where Lamar struggled after obviously having the season he had this past season. What does that say about Lamar Jackson?
Well, to be fair, the game obviously was not entirely on Lamar. There were some bad drops early. A Ravens team that was perfect, 8 for 8 on 4th and 1 throughout the year, had 2 4th and 1 snuffed out. The Titans responded to both of those by long drives for points. And the Ravens defense, which had been exceptional ever since week 3 and really great ever since they added Marcus Peters, had one of their worst games of the year. So none of those things are not individually on Lamar. But Lamar now in consecutive years has had his single worst game of the season in the playoffs. In consecutive years, Lamar's play has propelled Baltimore to the postseason, only to have in the postseason, he played terribly. And that is not that surprising. It's not that odd. It is something very similar to how Peyton Manning's career started in the beginning, where he was great in the regular season and then struggled mightily in the playoffs. But what I'm not going to do today is go to either end of this. I'm not going to act like this is a total indictment on Lamar, and this is why he fell to the end of the first round. This is why mobile quarterbacks can't succeed. That would be too harsh, and that would be too reactionary after we saw what he did in the regular season. What I'm also not going to do, though, is patronize him and act like this doesn't matter. It matters. And in the NFL, we've decided, fairly or not, quarterbacks are going to be judged differently than other players, and they're going to be judged disproportionately by how well they do in the postseason. It's why before Brady had 6 rings and before he had anything close to the numbers he had, there was a real argument he was better than Peyton Manning, even though Peyton Manning had a boatload of regular season MVPs, because Peyton Manning got worse in the postseason and Brady got better. And so for Lamar, it's not just going to be a long offseason, Brandon. It's going to be a long 12 months because no one will care, even if it's unfair, what he does in next year's regular season. Nothing will matter for Lamar until he's back in the playoffs and has a chance to have his first good playoff game. And I know he had 500 yards total, and I understand you can say, well, this is why it wasn't on him, and it wasn't all on him. But if you were to look at the 16 games he played this year, Brandon, this was the worst one, and it obviously came at the worst possible time.
So with Lamar Jackson, this game didn't say too much for me when it comes to, like you said, criticizing him for this game, because last year playoff, I feel like they kept the training wheels on. They didn't open up the playbook too much. I feel like they wanted him to just stick to these amount of plays. You're still young, just get some experience. And at the end of the game, they let him throw it a little bit, and that's when he loosened up. This game, the Ravens didn't show up as a team. The defense didn't play well, and I think the thing that hurt the Ravens the most, Mark Ingram wasn't healthy. And this offense and this offensive coordinator, this team didn't know what to do and how to adjust. Usually Mark Ingram is going 4 yards a carry, 3 yards a carry, 5 yards a carry. And then Lamar might pull it and he go 8 yards. And that keeps the defense off balance. So not having Mark Ingram there, and I think Mark Ingram had 20-something yards this game, it really hurt this team because I felt like Lamar started to press a little bit. And it shows his immaturity from not being in the playoffs too long. And that's why I think he just needs to grow a little bit.
And maybe those 4th and 1s go a little different if Mark Ingram's back there.
Definitely. I think Mark Ingram picked those up, definitely. And I just think Lamar just needs to watch Russell Wilson this offseason and see how he takes the game. He doesn't get rattled. He doesn't press for anything. I think Lamar Jackson should have ran more in the pocket because they couldn't rush the ball. So when you drop back, they tried to have a spy on him with Tennessee, and the linebacker didn't come 3 yards to this guy once he started running the ball. So it's just take the game in your hands, do what's the best of your ability, and that's running the football, and that's how you get your team and let them gain momentum.
You know, what's interesting is we talk so much about how Lamar Jackson has handled all the accolades that came this season, how humbled he was by it, how he was able to really put everything in perspective. I don't want to talk about what I've done. I just want to talk about the Super Bowl. And I think we thought that would parlay itself into having the right mindset and not getting too rattled, or as you said, not pressing too much. How much of what happened was because the Titans played spot on, and how much of was Lamar just couldn't get it done?
It was a really good game plan, and it's what during the week. Last week, now I can't sit here and say I had the courage to pick Tennessee, but I kept explaining why I thought Tennessee had a very, very good shot. The rust was clear. Lamar played 1 game since December 13th. Prior to this weekend. Today's January 13th. So the rust was a real factor. Tennessee did exactly what we said on the show they were going to do. Listen, man, if you're going to beat us deep in the outside, you're going to beat us. But what we're not going to let you do is you gash us up the middle with your legs or with other running back legs. And the Ravens then also had some bad luck. The interceptions off receivers' hands. They go for a 4th down that they've been going for all year. That's a de facto turnover. They go for another 4th down late. They don't get it. That's a de facto turnover. All those things went against them. And Baltimore is not built to come from behind. Like, you're not going to have superstar wide receivers on that team because most superstar wide receivers aren't going to sign up to block 75% of the plays anyway, right? Like, it's not going to be an attractive offense for them. And it was the exact game plan a team needed to beat them. But so for Lamar, in his 2 career playoff games, he's 51%, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks, 4 fumbles, 2 of them lost, and a passer rating are in the 60s. It's not good.
Not good.
There's no denying that it's not good. It is not different, by the way, than Peyton Manning's first 3 career playoff games with a completion percentage of 48%, a passer rating in the 50s, including a 41-0 washout, and by the way, a loss to Tennessee as the top seed with a bye. Like, that did happen.
But was Manning the probable MVP that year?
Well, he was damn close. They were 13-3. It was year 2 for him. He was sensational. And the one other concern I have, though, for Lamar is this, Brandon. All year long, we've talked about long-term, is this play style sustainable? Is he susceptible to injuries? And what I've said is, who gives a damn if they win the Super Bowl? Well, they didn't win the Super Bowl. And I don't think Lamar's going to be able to play like this for 15 years. I think that while, most quarterbacks' window is this long, his is shorter because of the athleticism and play style. This is a year they're never going to be better positioned than the 1 seed, as healthy as they were outside of Ingram. And so that does make the defeat all the more crushing.
The reason I alluded to Russell Wilson before, because Russell Wilson also runs the ball, but nobody worries about his health because when he gets in danger, he slides. Lamar still takes hits, and that's why you wonder if he'll be sustainable. And we just have to give the Tennessee Titans offense some credit. They had some long drives that kept that defense on the field and kept their offense on the field and didn't let Lamar Jackson get into rhythm. If he has a 3 and out, he can't come right back on the field. He has to sit for a while, think about it. And then when he come in, he has to press a little bit because he don't know when the next time he'll get back on the field. So you have to give Tennessee some credit when it comes to, hey, our offense on the field, we're rushing the ball, and hey, Lamar, just sit to the side. They always say your best defense is your offense sometimes.
I'm going to give Nick a little bit of credit. You may not have picked the Ravens, but on Friday, the Titans rather, on Friday, you actually kind of half whispered, had said in our newsroom meeting, you go,
I said, I want to pick the Titans. I don't deserve any credit, though. I didn't have the courage for it.